amigos, estamos en Los Ángeles, me puse mi super chaqueta de esqueleto porque vamos a compartir la van premier de Annabelle Regresa a Casa, la parte número 3 de esta nueva franquicia del universo El Conjuro. Ya estamos en la sala en donde se va a proyectar Annabelle 3, tengo aquí mi ticket justamente, vamos a ver la película y luego vamos a entrevistar a los realizadores. Miren qué bonita esta sala, es increíble, lindísima. Y muy tétrica también. Salimos del ascensor, venimos a hacer las entrevistas y lo primero que vemos aquí en el pasillo es nada más ni nada menos que Annabelle en persona. James, thanks for the time. Congratulations for your movies. I love your movies.
Thank you.
And the first question is, Annabelle was in this universe from the first movie.
Yes.
So, do you remember what was your first contact with the real story of the doll?
When I first kind of learned about the Warrens, definitely one of the very first thing I learned about is that one of the cases that they investigated involved a haunted doll, a possessed doll, and so I'm a big fan of the Warrens to begin with, and I love sort of creepy, scary dolls, and so the idea that the two of them could come together in one movie was very exciting for me, and that was a big part as to why I wanted to make the first Conjuring.
In the past, you worked in different scripts of this universe, but this is your first movie as director. How was the transition to the paper as working in the set?
You know, it wasn't as bumpy as I was anticipating, only because I've been so fortunate to have been on the sets for all the other movies and been around the other filmmakers, so I kind of knew what to expect going in. I found it to be very challenging, but really satisfying, rewarding. I think a large part of that is because I had the exceptional crew that I did making this movie around me and this team. I couldn't ask for a better group to be surrounded with when you take on an endeavor like directing your first feature.
What do you know about the Warrens and the real Annabelle before this movie?
I didn't know that much. I knew what was in the movies, but when I booked the film is when I kind of dug in and did some more research.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna say. As far as luckily we already had the films available to be able to watch and do research, which was really cool. So we all were fans of the Conjuring series prior, so that was really cool.
You're a specialist in this kind of movie. What is the most complicated part from making horror movies?
You always try to come up with sort of different sort of set pieces, different kind of scares, and that does kind of make it tricky, especially if you've made a few of them. But I think, the movies are different enough, like the different sort of spin-offs, whether it's The Nun or the Conjuring films or Annabelle, they're based on different characters, and so that allow us to sort of create sort of ideas and scares based around something that is more specific to the movie that we're making, and that really helps. With that, and so I think that is definitely one of the tricky things. But the other really sort of tricky things that we always want to try and get right is making sure that we create characters and writing characters that people like.
And how was the experience working in a horror movie like this one? Was shocking, intense, funny?
Well, it's great because it's just, you watch it and it's a lot different than the other ones in that way that it has the comedic relief, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I forgot I was watching a horror movie, here we go again. They've been saying this and I really like it. They were talking about how it's like a roller coaster. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
it is.
And how did you get the idea for this movie? Because it's the first one that happened in the Warren's house.
This is the first movie so instead of them going off and investigating a haunted house, the haunted house actually is their house.
Yeah.
And it was, we thought a lot about what it must be like to have this house or this home and this one room that's filled with all these haunted artifacts. And it must have been like for Judy Warren to grow up in a house like that and to have parents like Ed and Lorraine. And that's one of the things we really thought a lot about when we were approaching the story.
Do you remember something weird in the set? Some paranormal activity, noises?
There were definitely noises. Sometimes when, during one scene, we would run up the stairs, and every time we'd run up, we'd hear like these 3 knocks.
Yeah.
It happened every single time. It was very weird.
Do you feel it's difficult today to scare the audience?
I think so. I mean, I think today's audience are a bit more jaded. They've seen so many movies in their lifetime, and and they have all these stuff out there that they could be watching, right? And so you know, and that's why it makes watching a horror film in a cinema so amazing, so special, is just the communal experience, you know. The premiere that we had last night just showed to me like how much fun an audience could have, you know, in a room together and just enjoying the experience and going with it. And that's something that obviously you don't get when you're at home on your own, watching it on TV or on your computer, right? And that's why I think horror movies will always get people out into theaters.